about the Ultimate Weight Loss Bundle. It's released from February 3rd through the 12th, 2023. It's a 10-day offer. So if you're watching this after that time period, it's over. So, but if you're watching it now and it's currently going on, I hope you take advantage of it. A bundle is really a collection of contributions from a number of sources and resources. So for example, this bundle has over 100 and I think the last I looked about 110 different contributions. And they're everything from ebooks to e-courses to workouts, presentations, cooking classes from plant-based doctors, chefs, creators, and it's all focused on whole food, plant-based, no oil, weight loss kind of oriented content. So, and some things are very directed toward weight loss. There are some actual courses and ebooks around areas such as binge eating, which I found to be very helpful, even though I didn't think I really struggled with it. After I started looking at the course from a contributor about binge eating, I thought that it was very helpful. It was helpful to me. It was by Julie Lance. It was called How to Stop Binge Eating and Start Living Again. I really liked that. And there is a yoga teacher certification course. There is the Mary's mini course, if you've ever been curious about Mary McDougall's mini course that helps people get off of a plateau or make some progress. I thought that was a good one. PBNSG, Plant-Based Nutrition Support Group, has contributed a 170-page cookbook. So there are lots of things. And of course, last but not least, I developed a whole new ebook just for the bundle. And it's an ebook, but I printed it out so I would have a copy of it to show and to look at, because, you know, I'm kind of old school. I like printed things. But my beautiful ebook, beautiful to me anyway, my daughter helped me with it, has 70 recipes, all plant-based Japanese. And I really loved making this ebook because I wrote a story about my mother, my Japanese mother, and have a nice picture of her and my father and their story. And I grew up eating Japanese food. My mother was Japanese. She died several years ago, but that's how I became so interested in Asian food, because I grew up in a household where I got to eat it and enjoy it. And I lived in Japan for about 4 years. So my contribution new to the bundle was my ebook called Plant-Based Japanese that I'll be selling for $25 once the bundle's over. But for now, you can get this whole set of 110 plus different contributions for $49. And that's just during that period from February 3 to 12. So if you don't get it then, it's not going to be available later. Now, it's a lot of stuff, and what you do is you download it, or you get the information on how to get to the link to take the class. But you don't have to download all of it. I know in the last bundle I was involved in, people were so worried about having all of this content that they didn't want. Well, you don't have to download all of it. You can pick and choose which ones you really want. So for example, I went through all the different contributions, the courses, the ebooks, and some of course were not that interesting to me, and so I just said, okay, no, I don't really want to look at that one. But there were so many that were, and if I started adding up all the ones that I like personally, and I have lots of stuff, so I really don't need any more things to look at any time of the day. I have things I haven't read at home, but I found several that I really wanted to look at. I found Kathy Hester, who I really like. She contributed 3 of her most popular classes: the stews for the Instant Pot, a dehydrator class, which I've always wanted to know how to really work with dehydrators, and I'm going to really look at that one, and then an air fryer fun. And everyone always wants to know about how to use the air fryer right. I get that all the time. People have an air fryer, but everything they cook in it doesn't turn out. So I'm anxious to look at Kathy Hester's. And then a friend of mine, Elspeth Feldman, the Speedy Vegan, she contributed an ebook from recipes from Costa Rica. So I love everything she does. So I've just been taking notes about all the things in here. Everything from the Vegan Booty book, a guide to sculpting a peachy vegan body. Now, who doesn't want that? I could use that. So anyway, if you decide to do it, great. I hope you do. If not, you know, just buy my ebook at some point if you want it. But I'm doing a series of videos with recipes from my new ebook, And I really wanted to start with an intro about this bundle so you kind of understand what it is. But remember, it doesn't come out until February 3rd, and it's over February the 12th. So don't wait around, because if you don't get it, you won't get another chance. And please use the link that is in the show notes or provided in whatever message that comes with this video, so that you can use that link that applies to my account, so I'll get credit for it. Otherwise, I won't get any credit for you purchasing it through me. So thank you very much for your support, and I hope you decide to get the bundle. I really do think it's worth whatever you pay for it, and you will get lots of value from it. So thank you, and now I'm going to start making some videos. Bye-bye. Hi, I'm Chef Julia Dunaway, and I make plant-based dishes without oil, and I think they usually taste pretty good. So today I'm making something that I make frequently. I just call it Japanese green beans because it's the way my mother would make green beans. But then when I would post pictures of it on my daily food, what I eat in a day logs on my group on Facebook and different places, people would say, well, what's the recipe for the green beans? So I had to really think about, well, what is the recipe? So I thought I would make them for you, and then if you wanted to make them for your Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner, special occasion, or any time, they're so easy to make, and I think they taste really good, and they're simple. So I'm starting with, this is just half a pound of French-style green beans. They're kind of a little fatter than what I would call French green beans, but that's what they're called. They sell them in my grocery store, and they're organic, and that was one of the reasons I like them, because I like organic vegetables. So they do sell, this time of year, this is the week of Thanksgiving, they sell a lot of different kinds of green beans. So green beans are so easy to find. So what I've got over here, I've got a pot of boiling water, and I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt to the boiling water so that the green beans will have a nice little flavor. But if you're not a salt user, feel free not to add salt to the green beans. And I've got the water, I'm going to make sure it's boiling really well. And I'm going to blanch the green beans for 3 minutes. If you like them really soft and cooked more, you can always cook them longer, but the Japanese way is to have them kind of tender crisp. There's not this, you know, heavy, soft green beans. Like my father was from North Carolina. Let me do 3 minutes. And they ate green beans, but they cooked the green beans until they were like, you know, they had no shape. They were really soft, but they didn't use fresh green beans. They used more of a tougher, older green beans. They had to cook them for them to get tender, but if you're using fresh green beans, they don't have to be cooked that long. So during the 3 minutes, I've got the timer on that these are cooking in the boiling water. Of course, as soon as you put them in the water, will kind of reduce heat, but that's fine. I've got my skillet over here on low heat. It's not on high or anything, it's kind of on medium low, and I'm going to toast up my sesame seeds, because the Japanese style green beans have sesame seeds, a little bit of soy sauce, a little bit of sugar and salt, but not too much. So I'm going to put 3 tablespoons of sesame seeds in my skillet. And yes, these sesame seeds are already considered roasted. I'm spreading them out. On the package it says premium roasted white sesame seeds. So you're saying, well, why is she roasting them again? Because they also sell roasted sesame seeds that are really pale. These are really light colored. These look roasted. These don't, but it says they're roasted too. Well, no matter what it says, you want to roast them in your pan for a couple of minutes, or until you smell them. The way I know they're done is I can smell that they're roasted. I don't really walk away from them or anything. You just kind of, you know, as soon as you start to smell the smell of roasted sesame seeds, then they're done. So the reason you roast them is because that enhances the flavor. If you don't roast them, they just taste kind of flat. So it doesn't look like my timer went on. That's funny. I'm going to cancel it. For whatever reason, it just didn't go on. So I'm going to guess when 3 minutes is up. But anyway, you roast the sesame seeds because it really enhances the flavor. It makes them taste a lot better. And that does make a big difference. So has it been 3 minutes? And you can look at your green beans. You don't have to time it exactly. I can tell they're still kind of raw, so I'm going to just keep my eye on them. I kind of know when 3 minutes is up. And I've got my suribachi ready. This is a Japanese tool that's used commonly. This one was actually made in Japan. It's the one my mother used for many years. And basically it's a grinder. It's got all these little grooves in it. And when you put the sesame seeds in here, and you apply some pressure, it grinds the sesame seeds down either into finer pieces of sesame seed, or it can grind them into like a paste, depending on how you're going to use them. So I'm still smelling the seeds, and I don't smell that roasted smell yet. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the green beans out, because I believe it's been about 3 minutes. And I'm going to put them in a bowl of ice water. I've got it ready. Get your ice water ready before you start cooking. And they don't have to chill. I'm just putting them in the ice water to stop them from cooking anymore. Okay? So as soon as they've been in here and I can feel that they've cooled a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and take them out of here right away, because I don't want them to be ice cold. I want them to still be kind of warmish. And they'll get back to being a little warm. Even though they've been in ice water, they'll still get to the point where they're kind of warm if you take them out of the ice water right away. So that's what I did. I don't need all this ice. So I've got these green beans. I'm going to strain them a little bit. And I'm starting to smell the sesame a little bit. But I want you to see the green beans. Here's one I dropped. It's really great because you see how it's a bright green color? Even though it's a bright green color, I'm going to move my sesame seeds around from time to time. I'm starting to smell the smell of roasted sesame seeds. Very subtle. But the green beans, people tend to overcook green beans and make them too soft, and then they don't taste good. And then they get this kind of a dark green color that's not very appetizing. So that's what I'm trying to get away from. So I can smell the sesame seeds. They've not turned too much darker, but they have darkened a little bit. And that's what you want. You don't want them to be pale. And they will burn very quickly. So we definitely don't want to keep them in there too long. Because before you know it, 1 minute they're fine, and the next minute you'll turn around and your sesame seeds will be burning. So then we're going to put them in this suribachi. It's 3 tablespoons. Don't try to do more. And then I have this wooden tool. I think you would call it a pestle, like a mortar and pestle. And that's what you use to grind them. And then we can grind this down into as fine a paste as we want. And if you keep grinding it, you'll end up with tahini. Tahini is, I'm going to use some tahini today, but tahini is like, sesame paste. And some of it is more liquid than others. The kind I use is really like a liquid version. So anyway, we could do this for several minutes. So I certainly don't want to do this all on camera. So I'll be back in a couple minutes after I've got these ground up a little bit more. Okay, I have been working on grinding my sesame seeds, and if you look at them, they look very powdery. Like, they don't look like sesame seeds anymore. They look like sesame seed powder, and they smell so good. They smell like that roasted sesame seeds. So what I like to do with mine is I like to add a little bit of salt, like half a teaspoon of salt. This is kosher salt. And then I also like to add a teaspoon of sugar. And this is organic cane sugar. And if you don't use salt and sugar, you don't have to add either one of these. You can just leave them plain. But the reason I do that is because that really enhances the taste of this as a topping. So I use this as a topping for my greens and green beans and lots of different things. So I like it to have that little sweet and salty, just that little essence. And so what I do with this is I keep it, I have some that I made last week, and I keep it in this little container right by my stove. And so then it's available for my morning greens and different things, and I just sprinkle it on top of stuff. So it's really good like that. Well, in the traditional Japanese recipe for green beans, Gomaiso with the sesame flavor, is they just take this part and they add soy sauce to this and a little sugar and salt, and they kind of turn this into a dressing. So then this becomes like the dressing for the green beans, and it's ground up and you sprinkle it on. But I don't do it that way. The way I've been doing it is a little different. I take the green beans, and first of all, the style is to cut the green beans into smaller lengths. So these are really long and kind of unwieldy, so we're just going to cut them in half. And I'm just going to kind of line them up and get my knife back that I put in the sink. Why, I don't know. And I'm just going to cut them in half. And I didn't mention this, but my green beans were already trimmed when I bought them because they came in a package. So with the green beans, you trim off the top end. That's the part that's attached to the plant. You don't have to trim off the bottom. The bottom looks pretty. The bottom looks like a little thin sliver, but the top is where it's attached to the plant. You trim that part off. When I was younger, I didn't realize that. I would trim off both ends thinking, well, you trim off the ends of the green bean, but you really don't have to trim off both ends, just the tops, and leave the bottoms on. So we're cutting them in half, and then I'm just gonna put my seasonings on. So they look really pretty. They're bright green. And in my case, my way of doing it is I put a little bit of tahini, which is already, it's like nothing but sesame seeds. That's all, ground up sesame seeds. So let's say I'm going to put a half a tablespoon. That's a teaspoon and a half. It's not very much for 8 ounces of green beans. So I'm putting that much of the tahini, and then I'm going to put a tablespoon of soy sauce. And this is a low sodium soy sauce. So I'm putting 2 because that equals a tablespoon. And then I've got my chopsticks here. I can mix these around. And that's very similar to making my sauce with the sesame seeds that are ground up, where the traditional recipe is to add some liquid soy sauce, a little sugar and salt to that, but I'm not doing that. In my case, what I'm doing is I'm putting the tahini in there. That's just more of a liquefied sesame seed. And then the final touch for mine is then I take the ground up sesame seeds with the sugar and salt, and I liberally sprinkle the green beans with that. So then what you end up with is the Japanese style green beans, and they have a very nice flavor. Nice little crunch of the sesame, the little salt, tiny sweetness, and the fresh green of the green beans. And then to serve them, in this case, what I'll be making these for a Japanese style bento box that has rice, some, in my case, tofu, green beans, some salad greens, tomatoes. I don't know what else is going to be in there. Maybe a little Japanese potato salad, vegan style. So these will look really nice in my obento next to the white rice and the seared tofu and tomatoes. And so the green is always a welcome color in the obento. And if you really love the Gomaiso, which is what it's really called, I just call it sesame seed sprinkle, you can put it on a lot of different things. And it goes really well, like I said, on blanched greens. You can put it on, top of brown rice. You can put it on all kinds of things, on tofu, like Japanese style tofu. And it just makes a really nice addition to your food. So I hope you make this Japanese style green beans, and feel free to make the exact same thing with blanched greens. So take some super greens, blanch them for 30 seconds, drain them, squeeze out the liquid, do exactly what I did, and that's another way that I eat my greens every day. So I hope you make this Japanese style green beans and enjoy it. It makes a great snack. It's great with a meal, very healthy too. So thank you for watching this, and I do various recipes, Japanese style and others on a regular basis, and I hope you watch more of my videos. So see you soon. Bye-bye.